What's happening, everyone? Welcome to GBALL Vision. I hope you are doing awesome today. We are going to be checking out some of my favorite flipper knives of 2023. Now, I think this list is comprised of only flipper versions, but if it has a hole or a stud, it still counts as long as the flipper tab is the main or one of the main opening mechanisms. It can make this list. I do have plenty more lists like this coming out, but today we will be talking about knives that I am in love with that have a awesome flipper tab action, and most of them are more high-end knives, but one that had to make the list that was very, very surprising when I got it is this OKnife Freeze 2. Coming in 154 cm blade steel, nice drop point blade, nice and thin. You have some jimping up on the spine there. Green aluminum handles, deep carry rollover steel clip. The screws have been recessed. It is going to be reversible for our lefty pals out there. Great access to that liner. Now, they didn't chamfer it. Not a huge deal given the amount of awesome access, but I would have loved a chamfer on that liner. My only knock on this knife is the branding. I say it time and time again, but I'm going to continue saying it. I could deal without the branding on the center of the blade. At least make it smaller and move it up here. The other little tiny gripe was the chamfer on the liner. But other than that, this knife is amazing. It's got a very good cutting geometry. The action is phenomenal. The detent is tuned perfectly. Now, Kaiser is the OEM for OKnife, so it's not really a surprise. But this thing just comes thwacking out of there. As soon as you engage that flipper tab, this bad boy is flying out, no question. It's tuned absolutely perfect. Even if you lollygag it, it still comes flying out. Absolutely a great flipper knife. I think you can, if your hands aren't sweaty, you could thumb and reverse flick this guy. There's no hole or stud, but there is enough room there to use your thumb and reverse flick options there. The OKnife Freeze 2, definitely a great budget flipper knife. Let's move on. Now, this one and the next couple really aren't going to be much of a surprise. There could be plenty of knives in here. This is the Sharp by Design Mini Evo. Now, I had some small issues with this knife when I first got it. The detent was very wonky. Now, it has broken in and gotten way, way better than it used to be. It's still not quite where I would like it to be. Like, that OKnife has a masterful detent, and to say that has a better detent than this is very surprising. It is. It's just a touch better, and I'm sorry to say that. I hate to say that, but it's just the truth. Now, this is very good and smooth. The action is great on it. For such a small, slender knife, this really has phenomenal action. It does have a machine satin here, and then I believe that's still a machine satin on the flat as well. This is a Harpoon Tanto style blade. It looks amazing. Love that Harpoon. This is a wonderful looking knife. You do have a fuller there. Not going to be very accessible. You can dig your finger in there and sometimes get it. As my detent has gotten stronger, though, it's gotten harder to reverse flick as time has went on. When I first got this, I could reverse flick it no problem. But it has tightened up. This has the polished micarta with bead blasted titanium bolsters. It is a bolster lock, has good pass through, nice chamfer on that lock bar, nice deep carry titanium clip, very neutral. It's not screaming special, but it's also very user friendly. It works well. Has a nice spoon going up here, and then it dies off, so you do not feel that in hand. It's a great ergonomic knife. It's a great flipper knife. The Sharp by Design Mini Evo is no surprise. Definitely going to make the top list flippers of the year. Let's move on. So these aren't going to be, they're not really in any particular order. These last three are probably my favorite three of the year, though. This is the Chavez Ultramar Redencion 229 with the Tanto blade. Beautiful machine satin with a hand rub on the flat here. It's a beautiful looking Tanto blade. Absolutely love Chavez knives. This one is a special rendition of Chavez, though. It features the Lee Williams Kickstop, and it just changes. If you're used to the thumb studs on these full-size Chavez, the flipper tab is just outstanding. Hides away there when the knife is open, and it's also very minimal when it's poking out. Very minimal. I love the Lee Williams Kickstop, especially combined with such a big blade, big hefty blade. My experience with these have usually been on either a smaller knife or a little thinner of a profile, a blade. Here you have a massive M390 Tanto blade, and it just fires this guy out. You can light switch it, push button it. It is coming out with authority every time. You can miss it if you really lollygag it, but I think it's kind of the nature of the kickstop. The kickstop is meant to you push it, you know. If even if you give it just a little something though, it's coming out. You have to be trying, literally trying to fail it and do the old like push against itself. And even then, there's times where it just kicks itself out. There you can see you really have to, be trying to the point where it's ridiculous. If you even just give it anything, it's coming out great. The ergos are typical Chavez ergos, nice wide titanium handles. You have your skull titanium pocket clip, quarterback spacer, standard features of the 229 series. Absolutely love the Chavez with the kickstop. Definitely one of my home runs of the year. Chavez and Lee Williams teaming up, and then Riot doing the OEM work. Definitely a great combination of three companies, two people with two businesses, and then Riot all coming together and making a phenomenal pocket knife. And it flips good. It slices well, but this thing, even with its little bit of heft, it is a little heavier, but that does not bother me one bit. You're getting a lot of knife here. This is going to be able to handle most likely anything that you could throw at it that you would throw at a folder. It's going to do very well even on slicing tasks, poking tasks, anything work related. Just going to be a phenomenal all around knife. And that flipper action is phenomenal with the Lee Williams Kickstop. Let's get to the next one. Next up, we have a newer model. These are all fairly new. This one, the most recent, I think, of the whole bunch. This is the Tuya Knives Skelton Blades Caladan, and this is also a recent pickup for me. I just recently got this. as of this video, the unboxing hasn't even been released yet. That's how new this is to me. But by the time you are seeing this, the unboxing will be out. I can post a card to it up here at the top. Tuya Knives does a phenomenal job on their own knives, their OEM work. They do phenomenal, and they use awesome materials across the board. Their handle materials are just off the charts. They have almost every carbon fiber that you can think of. They do it. They even do like the copper infused, the aluminum foil infused. They have shreds. They have all kinds. Marbled, like this one here. I love what Tuya Knives is doing. Them and Migaron Knives are just doing a phenomenal job this year. This one in particular has a hand rub S90V drop point blade. The whole thing has been hand rub, even the flat here. It just looks phenomenal. Let's go ahead. We'll wipe it down for you freaky fellas. Nothing that a little KPL knife shield won't clean right up. Love that stuff for cleaning and protecting. Look at that blade. So good looking. It looks amazing. You have bead blasted bolsters. You have this beautiful marbled carbon fiber for the inlays. A very exaggerated titanium pocket clip. It works well. You do not feel that in hand whatsoever. So it's hard for me to complain about it. It's aesthetically, it looks good. It is long, but that really, it looks good. It's comfortable in hand. It works good. So it's hard for me to complain about it, even though it is a little longer and kind of out of the norm. It goes with the knife very well. It looks good, it works good. So I can't really complain about it. One of the best locks of the year. The pass-through is phenomenal. Not only did they chamfer it, but they also put some milling in there for extra grip, and it works amazing. I love how there's the chamfer, but you still have the ridges to kind of grab your hand if you want to kind of push over and slide down. The action is just off the charts. If you could get your finger out of the way, it's going to drop, and it's going to drop well. There's absolutely no blade play, up, down, left, or right. It's locked up wonderful, like 30%. The Caladan is a great knife at a pretty damn good price as well, considering the designer, the materials. It is a great price, and it's a great flipper-only knife. Love that flipper tab. The jimping is done well. It does not wrap all the way around, but I don't think it doesn't need it. It's very clean, easy to push button, easy to light switch. That is the Skelton blades, Tuya Knives, Caladan. Let's move on to the last one. So we will have another list of knives like this, but this is probably my favorite flipper of the year. This is the Oser F22 Urban EDC Supply exclusive with that Lee Williams Kickstop. Beautiful black micarta handle scales. Awesome shield. The transition is flawless. You can only tell it's there by just the change in, the feeling. This is a little smoother, but you cannot feel no ridges. The pocket clip is excellent. It's got the width to it, so it's comfortable when you squeeze. It works very well. You have this little lip here, slides in and out of even thicker seam pants or pockets very well. The bolster lock is done just, there's not a ton of access really, but they jimp it and they chamfer it. So, you know, the access thing, I always say it peeves me when there's no access, no chamfer, no jimping, and you can barely get to it. In this case, it's more flush here, but it's easy to get to, and when you get to it, it's very easy to disengage. This one has a coated M390 drop point blade, and it is beautiful. It is thin, it is slicey. Absolutely love the aesthetic of this knife. And on top of all that goodness, you have the Lee Williams kickstop mechanism again. And this thing is ultra snappy. I mean, you almost think it's an automatic with just a flipper tab release. It is. It just fires out of there. It sounds great. Even when it closes, it has this nice over the detent click. And when it opens, it just thuds out of there. For a bolster lock in micarta, the sounds are phenomenal. You can push button it, light switch it. The Oser F22 doesn't have to be the Urban EDC Supply exclusive. They have a bunch of different versions. This is my favorite one. They did some titanium ones that look good as well, but this with the black micarta just did it for me. Absolutely love the aesthetic of this one. So that will wrap it up, guys. If you're still here, thank you. Love you guys. If you're still here and you are not subscribed, hit the subscribe button down below the video. Give me a thumbs up. Leave me a comment. Love hearing from you guys. Otherwise, I will catch you on the next one.